My fellow Toastmasters, I have your attention again, please. Wow, must be my magnetic personality. I didn't know. Let me ask you a question. How many of you run your own business? How many of you run your own business? How many of you think it's successful? If you work for someone else, do you see a chance that it too can improve? In today's innovative world, entrepreneurship and strategies are key for success. This applies to all career strategies, whether you work for yourself or work for someone else. Entrepreneurship is required for the ideal of value creation, to start a business, or to search for the ideal job. The good news is that there is help and tools available to conquer both. Our keynote speaker tonight, Ms. Kathy Mast, will show us how entrepreneurship, creativity, and strategic framework can help us find the perfect business niche and manage our careers. Kathy Mast leads Innovo Now, a Dallas-based management consulting firm. She collaborates with leaders who know that they need the ultimate blend of strategy, technology, and talents to sustain a growth and innovative amidst significant changes. My fellow Toastmasters and guests, please help me welcome our keynote speaker, Kathy Mast, with her presentation, You, the Entrepreneur, Developing Strategies for Your Career and Your Business. You, the Entrepreneur, Developing Strategy and Career or Your Business, Ms. Kathy Mast.
It's a delight and honor to be here with you tonight. I was invited by Gaurav Shakar to be your keynote speaker, and it's been terrific to get to know Gaurav, and you are my rock stars. I've always admired Toastmasters, and it's a real privilege to be here with you tonight. Of course, you know that the only thing more terrifying than speaking to a group than speaking in general is speaking to a group of Toastmasters. And I'm sure you've heard that before. I want to talk to you tonight about you, the entrepreneur, but I'll start by sharing my entrepreneur journey with you. My career launch actually began many years ago when I found myself at the age of 24, newly divorced with 2 small children, and needing a way to support myself and my daughters. And I took a community college course in computers and data processing. And I moved my girls across country to Austin, Texas, and landed a job as a computer operator. About the first week in, I was shocked to find how much I did not know. I had so much to learn. But I got started working at a time when IBM offered a technical and leadership training for their customers. And I was a longtime IBM customer and was fortunate to benefit from that training. I rose from computer operator to programmer to manager to vice president of the organization and a member of the board of directors. So I had a lot of business education as I progressed. But and in working with that company, I designed and developed ERP systems, several of them over the years. I also managed custom development of applications for customers in the mailing and distribution industries. And the company decided to start selling the software that I developed for them, so I often felt like I had 3 full-time jobs. But after a few years, the company decided that they wanted out of the software business. And by then, it was my passion. That was the thing that I knew that I loved the most. So I left the company and started my own company. And that was my launch as an entrepreneur. And I hired a team of people. First, I took $2,500 and went out and rented office space, had some business cards printed, and bought a desktop computer. And the first week that I started the business, I was shocked to think, I'm here by myself, what do I do next? But I hired a team of people, and over the next 5 years, we sold ERP systems to about 250 global clients. So I traveled a great deal. I got to see a lot of different businesses, and again, it was an education in itself. But the economy took a downturn, and that was my first experience with the impact that the economy can have on an entrepreneur. And I decided that my family needed more stability at that stage. So I got a consulting opportunity in Dallas working for a healthcare company. And after a few months working there, they offered me a full-time job, and I moved to take advantage of that position. I was there for 7 years as a senior manager in IT, and I thought healthcare would be a lot more steady than manufacturing, but that's another story. You find that there are challenges in every industry and every company. I was at that company for about 7 years, and I really missed the entrepreneurial bent. I had my own staff. I was a senior manager. I had my own budget. And so I felt like an entrepreneur within a company. How many of you work full-time for a company? So most of you. And then I saw that there are a few independent business owners. That's correct? So I think you can be an entrepreneur both within corporate America and in running your own business. In 2001, the company that I was working for, the healthcare company, decided that they wanted to make some changes, and I had the opportunity to stay and move to another role or take some compensation and leave. And I chose to take the compensation and leave. So I started consulting in 2001 under the name of Mast Consulting. And a few years later, I attended SMU's Executive MBA program. That was one of my goals in being on my own again. And I started working a great deal on mergers and acquisitions, and the company just doubled and tripled in size. It was a great time to be in business for myself until 2007. And the financial crisis hit. I think most people were unprepared for the length of recovery from the financial crisis. In fact, I think it has impacted our business world, and it's different today than it was prior to 2007. About 3.5 years ago, I decided to rebrand, and I created Nuvo Now. Nuvo is actually a Finnish word by origin, and it means advise, and it also connotes new. I advise companies today on new strategies, new business models built on innovation, technology, and talent. The services that I provide include consulting. And about 2012, I started leading workshops for C-level and departmental leaders. And I do that a great deal now. I'll tell you more about my workshops as we go. But then I also deliver advanced technology products to companies such as cloud, cybersecurity, and advanced collaboration because customers continually ask me, what should we be doing from a technology and innovation standpoint? So you can see that my career path has been one of being an entrepreneur within a company and an entrepreneur on my own. And I would now like to talk with you about your opportunity to be an entrepreneur, whether you work for someone else or have your own business. And Gaurav suggested to me that a number of you certainly have the skills to start your own business, but maybe concerned about taking that risk or maybe need just that extra nudge. So we'll talk tonight about you, the entrepreneur, and why I think you need to be an entrepreneur regardless of the environment. But I think the important thing to know is to know yourself. One of the things I do in working with companies is help them do assessments for their team. And back up. This is an assessment. It's called a Core Values Index Assessment. And it shows you what really motivates you. It's different from a personality assessment. I'm sure many of you work with StrengthsFinder or some of the other assessments that are available. I like the CVI because it really shows you what motivates you every day and helps us align people with the right job. Right person, right job. And it also shows you where you have gaps. If you manage a team of people, for example, we tend to hire people that we like, and we know that we really need a diverse set of skills to be effective in the marketplace. This is a team of people, and you can see that they're missing one of those key core values. And it's important to identify and fill your gaps in your team and in your strategy. This is a technology adoption life cycle. This has been out for a number of years, and it talks about innovators on the far left as opposed to people who adopt technology at a later pace. And on the left, we see that visionaries typically create new products. They're the innovators. And it's important to know this about yourself. Am I an innovator? Do I like to come up with new ideas? Do I really thrive in a culture where they are continuously creating new technologies or new processes? Or am I more of a pragmatist? I want things to work the way they're supposed to, and I just want a lot of stability in my work environment. The visionaries, we know, are people who are patient with things that might have a few problems. They might not work just right. They're kind of half-baked when they get started, right? And visionaries have a lot of patience. On the other hand, the pragmatists want everything to work. They want shiny interfaces. They don't want any problems. And then we have people in the middle who help bridge the gap between the two. Now, the pragmatists don't trust the visionaries very much. Just because they say something will work doesn't mean that the pragmatists are going to trust it. And on the other hand, the visionaries don't trust the pragmatists very much either. So it's important to know where you stand in this equation and to know what environment you are the most successful at. And that brings me to ideas. Whether you're a visionary or a pragmatist, let's say you're a pragmatist and you're responsible for distributing products and you want everything to work as it should, you're still always out looking for new customers, new markets, and you have to be an idea generation, in my opinion. And it's about not only ideas, but making things happen. Scott Bilski said this. He's the vice president at Adobe for creativity. And it's so important. I hear employers say to me all the time, I want people who are good at coming up with new ideas. I want people who get excited about their job. And I hear people go, I want a creative environment to work in. And so putting those two together is really important. You might say to me, Kathy, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't have any interest in starting a business. I don't want any risk. I don't like it when things don't work well or not knowing where my next paycheck is coming from. And I respect that decision. But let's think about you as an entrepreneur within your company. It is about generating ideas for your employer. I have I've been hearing some employees say recently, I just want to do my job. Tell me what to do. I'm out the door at 5 o'clock. And especially millennials, I'll have to say. And I tell them that that's a risky way to run your business or to run your job. And because you have to be able to manage things that change at 4:35 or 4:55 as you go out the door. Your employer's looking for people who are committed enough to their job that they're going to do what it takes to get things done. So their employers are looking for you to generate ideas, to communicate, to collaborate, and to work at a good and aggressive pace. If you're good at doing those things, you're probably already a good entrepreneur at work. But then let's think about another thing that has happened to a lot of people, and that's job loss. Has anybody experienced a job loss in the last, say, 10 or 15 years? So, a lot of people. And I would suggest to you, if you're an employee and you lose your job, you have to be an entrepreneur to find your next job because it's so competitive. And the job hunting process is arduous at best. Things, again, are different. I hear companies go or say there's not any top talent out there. I'm saying the top talent is there. It may not look or seem like you envision, but top talent is available, but you have to be open and creative. And as you look for a new job, it's really important that you be able to sell your skills, that you be able to communicate and differentiate yourself in the marketplace, that you have to network all the time. I would say that the number one skill that you need to continue to develop is networking. And everyone in this room has a strategic advantage because you're great at networking. You're investing in your skills. You're doing the right things to make your skills marketable in the workplace. But it's still a tough job when you start looking for a new position. I got a call or a text about 11:30 a couple of weeks ago, 11:30 p.m., and I don't keep my phone right next to me. And I was like, was that a text message? And it was someone texting me saying, I have a friend, you have to meet with him. He's been looking for a job for like 8 months. And so I met with the guy the next day, and when I looked at his resume, I have to share with you, I don't know why it took him more than 2 weeks to find a job. I mean, we're talking ultra talented. We're talking technology, we're talking strategy, innovation, top companies. And he said, you know, when I made the job switch, I thought I would be employed within a month or so, but that's not the case. So even the most talented are finding that the job market and finding a new position is arduous. So as an employee, if you find yourself on your own, you may consider starting your own company. But certainly if you move on to a job search for a new position, you have to be entrepreneurial in the way you go about finding that next position. It's just the way the market is today. So let's talk about you as the business owner and the opportunity to have your own business. Is there anyone here who's thought they'd like to start their own business but has not? Quite a few of you. and some of you are pointing to other people. I love that. So you may start your own business because you desire to be your own boss. In today's world, you may have an idea for a great product or a new service, or you've lost a job and you think, well, now I have the opportunity to go out on my own, I'm just going to try it. What's holding you back? Possibly risk, but the U.S. labor statistics says that at least 50% of companies that get created last more than 5 years, and 30% last more than 10 years. That's pretty impressive in my opinion. And you may start a business and sell it or decide to do something else eventually. It's not like you're signing up for forever. I mentor graduate students through SMU, and I frequently advise them to develop dual career paths, whether it's consulting and working full-time or having your own business and having your own business and working full-time. It's important that you have options in today's marketplace. You might decide to go into business as a part-time endeavor. I think having your own business is great for families where there's 2 wage earners and one person's working part-time. It gives you some flexibility in caring for your family. I think that's a terrific option. And then later you can turn it into a full-time position. So I think that having your own business is certainly an option for many of you. For one reason is you're great speakers, you're great communicators, and that gives you a strategic advantage. And so you can be your own ambassador for your company. So I would challenge you to consider starting your own business and the opportunities that it affords you. If you're already entrepreneurial and you're an entrepreneur within a company, think about being an entrepreneur on your own. There's another option for you as well, and that is to start a business while you work for someone else and create a milestone and say, if I reach or achieve this point, then I'll go out on my own and quit that full-time job. That helps you hedge the risk, because then you've got a full-time paycheck coming in. Obviously, you may be working 2 jobs or at least a few extra hours a day to start that new business. But I think that's also a good opportunity for you to try being in business for yourself. Certainly, the cost to start a business is much lower these days because of technology. Many online businesses get launched with relatively low investment. And you may say to me, Kathy, I don't like selling. I don't want to go out and have to sell products. I just want to do my job and be done. Well, some of you, though, have excellent technical expertise or services expertise, and by reinforcing yourself with someone who is good at selling, you can have that business do what you love behind the scenes and let them do the selling, and then you've got the best of both worlds. And that's where it's important to know yourself, again, is what type of culture am I going to be the happiest in? And am I going to love working for myself, let's say from a home office or from a small office? Whether you decide to be an entrepreneur in your job or on your own as a business owner, it's really important for you to have a strategy. So now we're going to talk about you as the strategist. So you have to be the strategist for your own career. When I began my consulting practice, I wanted to develop expertise in a niche area. And I found that my customers kept telling me that I was very innovative. And I think by that stage in my career, I'd worked with several hundred businesses, and I think I brought them ideas that they had not considered. And oftentimes people will go, I want to do this, and I'll say, well, what if we did this? I think you're going to make more money. Or what if we did this instead? Or there's this new product that will help you. And so I started researching innovation to see if I was truly innovative or just strange. And I found that it's probably a combination of things. It's innovation as we know it, plus my love of using new technology to drive business value. So I created a methodology that starts with the strategy of a business, even though my focus is on innovation. What is the vision? What's the mission? What are our goals? And then, how are we going to be innovative in the marketplace? How are you going to be innovative in your job? Because I would suggest to you that you must be innovative in your job. So, are we going to create disruptive innovation, enhanced innovation? Are we going to need to start all over from scratch? It's important to know, though, how you are differentiated, whether as a business or as an employee. Once we know our strategy and innovation goals, then we know how to develop technology or technical skills. We know what people we need to be successful. And that's really important. I've used this methodology for companies who are acquiring another business, for companies that are putting in new technology. If you're in the technology field and you're putting in an upgrade to a system, this works. What's the company doing? How is this upgrade going to help us? And who do we need to enlist to make sure we're successful from a talent standpoint? I've studied strategy a great deal, and so much so that I was invited to be a guest lecturer in strategy at SMU for Dr. Walker. And I asked Dr. Walker, I said, I need a framework because strategy is a very tough topic. When you say to a business owner, what's your strategy and what strategy are you expressing to all your people? It's a struggle because it is a tough topic. And oftentimes it's in somebody's head rather than on paper. And Dr. Walker gave me a spreadsheet, but I wanted something that was a little more compelling. And several years ago, a book came out called The Business Model Generation. And it's about creating new business models. And I found that in the book, there was a business model canvas, and it allows you to lay your strategy out on a page. And it's built around who are our customers. If you make widgets, who are you trying to sell those widgets to, and what's your value proposition? I ask people about value proposition, another tough topic, oftentimes, and they tell me, well, we have excellent customer service, and we have a quality product. Well, if you're the end customer, everybody's telling you that, and that's not enough to differentiate yourself. So you really have to work on your value proposition. And then what type of customer relationships do we need to build to convey our value proposition to our customers? And what channels are we going to use to express that message? And then what's our revenue stream going to be? So this right hand of the canvas is your revenue generation. The left-hand side then what are our key activities? What key resources do we need? Who are our key partners? And that's the cost side of the equation. But this gives you a snapshot of your business on a page. It also can be expanded to be a product or a strategy, or you might have a page per customer segment. Some of you have 2 or 3 different customers that you service. So who are our customers? If you work full-time for someone and you're, let's say, developing an application, laying this out and going, we're building this application for this set of customers, and this is our value proposition. This is very useful whether you're an employee or a business owner. When I started my workshops, the leadership workshops, the first one that I used the business model canvas for, and the first leadership workshop I facilitated was 3 days. And it was led by the former governor of Wisconsin, Scott McCallum. It was probably not a good idea to choose him as my guinea pig, but I can say that it turned out very well, and he's been a big supporter of the methodology and the work that we've done together. There are always aha moments when I lead workshops and we go through the business model canvas. And especially even with Governor McCallum, he was like, Kathy, you know, we need more resources here because it's a picture of where you've got gaps in your strategy. And the staff was going, we've got way too many things to do. And they could hear each other for the first time. And there were many aha moments. I've gone on to use the Canvas a great deal in a number of different organizations. And oftentimes we'll lay out the business model canvas for the business as it is today. And then what do we want it to look like in the future? And then we decide what changes need to take place to move from one business model to the other. And it's very effective. So from a workshop standpoint, my workshops span typically from a few hours to 1 to 3 days. And we look at the team, we look at the business and the future state, desired future state of the business, and new business models, new products. And then how are we going to manage change? All in the context of we have to have an innovative culture. We have to have a culture that's continually open to change and adjustment. I always like to share things about the market and what's happening. Recently there was a Gartner symposium a couple of weeks ago, and I know it's technology related, but I find technology is so integrated in the business and in your jobs that I wanted to mention a couple of things from that symposium. Gartner has coined the term continuous next for the next few years. And I think that's really brilliant because we have to be good at what we do every day, but we have to always be thinking about what's coming next. And if you don't want to develop a catchphrase for your company, just adopt that one, because we do have to think about today and tomorrow. They also recommend focusing in 5 key areas of culture, digital product management, privacy, digital twin, and augmented intelligence. Digital twin is making a replica of a company or an environment or a process or a product, and then testing changes, testing new products. They use the example of a surgical suite that was challenged, surgical units within a hospital. And they were challenged because they had surgeries scheduled normally and then they had emergencies. And by creating the twin, they discovered that they needed 2 additional surgical units. That's really important because if they had added 1, they would have still had problems. If they'd put in a new scheduling system, they still wouldn't have accomplished their goal. So having a digital twin and really trying things in a real-world environment, very powerful. Some of you that are managers, creating a lab environment, letting people test, great opportunities. And then that nearly 2 out of 3 CEOs and CFOs anticipate business model changes coming. That's important for you to know because it says the environment that you work in is likely to change. And it's an opportunity for you to get out and deliver products based on new market conditions. And then think projects and not products. That's a huge shift in my opinion, and I think it can be a very positive change. Project management has always been fraught with problems around communication and where are we on the project. And to my way of thinking, products are much easier conversation. They either work or they don't. And so thinking about products in this new digital transformation time period, really important. And I know that this is a list of, if you're thinking about new investments in the technology area, this is a list, again from Gartner, on important developments in the technology arena. And that leads me to the innovation of you. You are unique. You have unique skills. You can do things that no one else can do in your own way. So whether you decide to be an employee, an entrepreneur, or a business owner and entrepreneur, it's all about the innovation of you as an entrepreneur and a strategist. And I would challenge you today to really think about going out and becoming more of an entrepreneur in either environment. Your founder said that many people join Toastmasters because they want to learn to speak well, but they find that it has a profound impact on their life and the opportunity to change mankind as a whole. I think you are the speakers of the world, and you have within your grasp the ability to change the world around you. I hope you will do it as an entrepreneur, whether you work for a company or work for yourself. I admire you and challenge you to go out and be both that entrepreneur and strategist. Thank you.